Somewhere in Africa, and brothers and sisters, many of you must have heard about the Federation, a federation of Caribbean islands that were formerly British colonies. And the islands were supposed to come together in a federation. Federation means one federal country where you would have a parliament that would be running all the countries, that is Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, St. Vincent, all of them would be part of that federation. But as a youth growing up, I hear about this federation. And you hear that Manley was pushing the federation idea. Buster was pushing it also. But later on, strategically, Buster decided to oppose it. But one thing that was never taught to us when we used to hear about this federation was that I didn't realize that it was supposed to be a British. The plan, and I read it, it says here, the plan for a British Caribbean Federation. My brother Bongo, this is it. The plan, as you can see from the second book here. Yes. The plan for a British Caribbean Federation.
First we heard.
You see it, you know.
Yes.
You understand?
In true colors.
Yes. And this is a report of the Civil Service Commissioner that Britain appointed. And he came, he says here, as you can see here in the contents, appointed commissioner, he said, visit to Jamaica, visit to Trinidad, headquarters, visit to the Windward, the Leeward Islands, and so on. So the commissioner was appointed, and the name of that commissioner, which I'm going to give to our listeners and brothers and sisters, yes, they appointed Sir James Robertson. And of course, him have only for KCMG, KBE, and all sort of things behind him name. He was civil secretary to the Sudan government. I want you all to notice, you know, they have this way of blooding them in Africa, then send them to Jamaica and the Caribbean when them things are them ready. It's the other way around, you know. Because the judge who tried Leonard Howell in St. Thomas, William Lyle Grant, they had sent him to Malawi first. Same good, they go crucify enough Africans who were fighting for their liberation, then they bring him come Jamaica and make him Chief Justice. This man now, James Robertson, and I don't know if I'm related to James Robertson, the MP, you know, but something tell me, you know. Anyway, him now, they appoint 1955, they appointed him to the Caribbean now to be the secretary towards organizing this federation. Take him from Sudan and bring him to the Caribbean. Brothers and sisters, you all can check it out, and there's not Brother Miguel and make up these things, you know. All my duty is to go and do the research, yes, sir, get the documentation, yes, and bring to you all. You all can research it. Everybody have computer and this and that. Everything won't be on the computer, of course, but it can help to open your eyes. I'm not from the computer. You know?
You're from the book page.
Yes, I like the crinkling of the pages. So, I have here a little book which says, The Plan for a British Caribbean Federation. So, even when we hear talk about this federation, it was supposed to come under the British order. Fire burn for that.
Yes.
So this was a reorganized form of colonialism.
Coming through
no
the
freedom
next door.
never. Yes, coming through another door.
Wow.
I want our people to understand these strategies.
So you can't get to one way I take with
yes, because they realize that our people in the Caribbean were now clamoring for full freedom. So the British wanted to make sure, say, you know what, we're going to give them a little, but it have to come under our banner. You know what I mean? Treachery, brutality. You know?
Serpentine.
Yes.
Serpentine. Twisting.
You know?
Twisting. Clever.
So this report now, this man now, Robertson was appointed, and him travel to the islands and get him report, meet the different people, and he and I have my two brothers here who are witnesses, Bongo James and Brother Yeshua.
Yes, sir.
And they are from the Peacemakers Association, and we're going to soon talk to them about their mission here. But once they are here, that's part of their mission.
Yes, sir.
And this document now, the plan for a British Caribbean Federation, after him travel around and write him thing, presented by the Secretary of State for the Colonies to Parliament, that is the British Parliament, by command of Her Majesty, that is the Queen of England, in December 1955. 1955, they presented this to the British Parliament as to how to implement this plan for a British Caribbean Federation. Brothers and sisters, there are many things we learn from this. Because a lot of the plans that they carried out in the Caribbean and in Jamaica, if it works here, they then go other places and carry it out.
Truly, yeah.
A classic example is that 1739 treaty with the Maroons. They tried that same treaty in America, the British. When the British started clamoring for their independence, not the British, the Americans started clamoring for their independence from Britain. They wanted to come up with that same treaty because they had the template here with the Maroons. So they tried to implement it there. Some Americans grabbed for it, but some said, no, I smell a rat somewhere here. I'm not going to adopt it. I'm not going to take it. It's better we go for full nationalism and bloodshed. So by what, 1776, they had their revolution and they had their bloodshed rather than accept the treaty, the precedent which was set with the Maroons here. I go further. When Colonel Montague James led the Trelawney Maroons, when he said, look, I'm not abiding by no treaty. This was 1790 odd now. So I'm not going to treaty business because, kill some of my brethren and murder some of my sisters. And when Trelawney, who was the governor at the time, made it clear when some of the brothers, some of the Maroon brothers were brought in alive, Trelawney said, you're not mad, you bring them in alive. They should have been brought in dead.
Whoa.
So Colonel Montague James said, no, me not that, Me not part of the treaty, me not that. The British now realizing that this force of Maroons not going to abide by the treaty, not going to be in a bed with nobody, they realize the only way is either kill them or deport them. So they deported them from Jamaica, a hot country, to Nova Scotia in Canada. At that time, Canada was also a Canadian country. So they sent them from Jamaica, Trelawney, and then placed them in the west to Cyril, back to Nova Scotia in Canada.
Them wicked.
They continued their rebellion in Canada. And after a while, now they had to transport them from Canada to Sierra Leone in Africa. That's the only way you could have pleased them, because they're not coming back to Jamaica. Because they make up their mind and they were born down Jamaica now. So they had to carry them to Sierra Leone. So, and there were some brothers and sisters in Georgia in America. Black people, very religious, fighting for their rights. And they rose up for their freedom against the British, as they were a colony at the time too. The British realized, say, boy, we had carried out that template against the Maroons in Jamaica in order to cool them off up in Canada. So they carried some of the brothers and sisters from Georgia to Canada also. Because them said, boy, it look like it's working in Jamaica. I want you all to understand the universality of the savagery when they were carrying out these things, you know. And it's only we one don't realize that we are equally tied to our brothers and sisters in America, our brothers and sisters in Africa, and wherever the black man is. That is how they think of us.
One blood.
So they carried Multitude James and the brothers there, and they carried brothers and sisters from Georgia up to Canada also. Whereas when them carry them go up to Canada now from Georgia, they realize, because those from Georgia was a little more peaceful. Them the rebel, but a little more. But when them compare them now with those from Jamaica now, they say, no, boy, this thing is gone out of hand now. First thing is, the Jamaicans that carried up in Canada, first thing is, they believed in polygamy. Each man must have a certain amount of wife. The Canadian people up there them preach Christianity.
Yes.
One wife, one man, and them things. The Jamaican man said, no, you can't tell me our culture. This is what we defend. So them couldn't get them for then it go on. Them couldn't get them for conform. And all them try to impose enough things, them couldn't get them for things. And it reach a stage now where bloodshed they go rampant, so them carry them go Africa. And so on. So I say that, brothers and sisters, that this federation plan now, that the British took great pride in, spent great money, took a leading emissary from Africa, come to the Caribbean, and this was not overnight planning, because we hear about the federation in 1958. This was presented to the Parliament in England in 1955. You know, and you said to yourself now, how could these Caribbean fathers, who we always are called Caribbean notable fathers, Eric Williams, Barrow from Barbados, Manley and Buster from Jamaica, and all these other people, the Birds from Antigua, and Joshua and them from St. Vincent, and all these people that the people refer to them as Caribbean fathers and Caribbean this and Caribbean icons and Caribbean that. How could they be when they were all party at one point for this plan for a British Caribbean Federation? They were traitors to we the people, man. The people didn't want swap British colonialism for British Caribbean Federation. They were tricksters, and they never taught us in school that it was a British plan for there to be a British Caribbean Federation.
No, we never learned that. No time at all. No time at all.
My brother and sisters, I bring all of this to you. In other words, they never ever want to take their fingers and their tentacles off us. No matter if them pretend and go on. We were their bank accounts.
Yes.
You don't run with your bank account. In the 18th century, 1700 and all these times, the richest persons in England were those that were engaged in sugar. See, in bitter sugar, those that were engaged in sugar production and importation of sugar to England. They were the richest in England. It was the biggest business. Why you think the British government went and borrowed 20 million pounds to pay off the planters when the enslavement had to end in a farm? That money, up until recently, the interest on that money was still being paid off. When I say recently, I'm talking 2020, 2019. The records are there, brothers and sisters. The money they borrowed to pay the planters, it grew so much interest that even up until 2019, 2020, the government was still paying interest on that loan that it borrowed to pay the people. So nobody come tell me about all history, and nobody come tell me the one Miguel, all I do is bring up this and bring up that. If you want to understand your black race, know your history. If you want to understand this thing, brothers and sisters, go into your history, because the history is now.
Yes.
You never compensated us. You compensated the white man, because those were your biggest industries. Those were where you were making your biggest profits. So you see, when America said them spend $2 trillion in Afghanistan, it's borrow money them borrow, you know. It's borrow to spend $2 trillion in Afghanistan, you know. And they are paying interest, you know. So Brown University worked it out and said that by 2050, when they are paying back that loan, it's going to reach $6 trillion. Don't go behind the scenes, you know. Don't look behind the hidden cameras and realize somebody paying for it somewhere.
Yes.
And it's all our black people go to England, go jump up and support Arsenal and Liverpool, and when you see them party, them are paid that loan what was given to the planters.
Some of them are Liverpool.
Yes. I deliberately use the word Liverpool. Liverpool was a strong enslavement center, man.
Yeah.
Where the rich guys them send out them boats and then come meet the boats with them books to calculate. Brothers and sisters, the treachery don't stop yourself. Treachery don't stop yourself.
And if we should have talked about that 20 million pounds for us now, at trillions of dollars,
You're talking to the mic, the brother Yashua, because what you're saying is so
if
important.
We were talking about that 20 million pound now. At trillions, them are with. We say give away them, give the planters.
Yes.
And me I tell you, say, that would make us feel justified in some way, because we could have used it and repair some of the damage. You understand?
Yes.
Because when you calculate the interest from then time till now, you know how much that would be? I'll know them that still appear the next 20 years. So somewhere we have to get equivalent to what the planter get. Or more.
Much more. But not only that.
The minimum.
What is important, very important, is that many times when we make reparatory claim, even our own black people, the house slaves, the house niggers,
stand up against it.
And them, that's a long time. How we gonna work it out? How we gonna calculate it out? How we gonna know how much? Even many of our house niggers here in Jamaica.
Highly intelligent.
Well, I don't have highly intelligent because
educated.
Yes. You understand? I don't know what educated either, but some of them who, especially in government, say those things. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, but I man choose my words carefully. You can't be educated and you go against your race.
Truly.
You can't be intelligent if you're fighting against your race.
Yes, true.
No. And brothers and sisters, hear what now? So them say, but how were you able to work out the 20 million pounds? It wasn't a pick figure where you pick out of the air. They worked it out, the value at the time that they were paying to the people. They kept books.
Yes.
And almost every Caribbean island that I go to, and I've been to quite a number of them, I go to their libraries, I go to their archives, I go to their museums.
And the record is there.
The record is there, handwritten. The last time, one of the last places I went to was in St. Kitts, where they are playing the CPL now.
Yeah.
And I went to the libraries there, beautifully kept by our brothers and sisters there, beautifully kept. When I spoke to the librarian, she was so glad. She said, sir, we don't have people coming here often to ask about these things, you know. So, and when she brought me the books and the files and the different things, and I see the handwriting beautifully kept. They had the names of my ancestors. And they would put Mary from Jagaju Plantation, 16 years old, valued at, and they put the amount of pounds she's valued at. The details, each plantation. You know, them time that a 16-year-old girl and a 15-year-old girl value a whole heap, you know.
Whole heap.
Because them also want her on the
Nice.
plantation
Yeah.
to use her too. You understand what I mean? Very valuable.
A pleasure element.
Yes. It's there written down. It's written down here too. Handwritten. Well, neatly written. So, brothers and sisters, you all can go and do the research.
The evidence is there.
You young, bright, brilliant, young boys and girls coming up, go and do this type of research when you're going to be writing your papers and so on. Don't make them guide your research. You guide your research. And let us bring the facts to the people and let the people analyze these facts and come to the conclusion. So, brothers and sisters, we are serious. Because that is how we are going to end Babylon as practiced in this part of the world.
So true.
Yes, Brother Nimba, greetings, as you have said. Independence Jamaica government has accepted, right, in regards to such and such incidents, the Jamaican government has accepted culpability along with their partner, As the British government, that word here, I see it's let use for the British government to task as British government, that's a little mix up there, Brother Nimba. So clearly, Brother Miguel, you see why the Ethiopian Mary Federation was sent to us by Haile Selassie I. The Ethiopian World Federation is a key to U.S. economic and social liberation. Federation is the key to us. I see you have U.S. in capital, but really it means the Ethiopian World Federation is the key to us economic and social federation. It is a royal edict, so it is written, so let it be done. Our Father even give us a constitution, a royal legal document, those along with these principles and protocol and procedures. We need to comprehend what the Ethiopian World Federation Incorporated means to we as a people here in the diaspora. And that is coming true. I forget to tell you all, you can take in the program on YouTube. You can look at Bitter Sugar, Brother Miguel Lorne live, and you can enter in the chat room and send your comments so that we can get an idea what is happening there. Now, we have in the studios here now Brother Yeshua and Bongo James. And did I give you? Yes. Yes.
Tell them so African. God, this is part one. I don't know what Two man walk like an African, talk like an African, chant like an African, smart like an African, read like an African, lead like an African, lead like an African. And two man bleed like an African, we lead like an African, breathe like an African. I won't forget my history. I'm waiting for my victory. Africa is the country, that's where the blacks must be. We are scattered because of slavery, and like animals, that's how they sold me. Chains and shackles, they used to hold me, right here in captivity. But man, born like an African, talk like an African, smart like an African, perform like an African, lead like an African, read like an African, bleed like an African. Oh man, know me African, me grow like an African, so like an African.
I will just run out. I usually have several. Thank you.
It's like I'm somewhere from Soweto. Mama Africa looks so much like the ghetto.
Yes.
It feels like
Oh,
I'm
here.
somewhere from Soweto. That's why me walk like an African, talk like an African, smart like an African, chant like an African, lead like an African, bleed like an African.
Read this one first,
Feel like
and then
an
read this one
African.
after.
That's why me born like an African, perform like an African, storm like an African, born like an African. Humole, 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 humole. Somebody, somebody lies, somebody lies, somebody lies. Somebody lies, wait, hey, hey, oh my, humole, 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 some equal like an African.
Wow, wow. There you have it. Walk like an African, talk like an African, think like an African, breathe like an African. That has to be our mantra daily. Everything we do, we think like an African. Yes, we have Bongo James and Brother Yashua here with us. And Bongo James has just seen one of the books on my table here, entitled Bitter Sugar by Maurice Lorne. But Bongo James, you want to read it aloud, that little section I see you reading there? You want to read it aloud? Read aloud it in the mic. Let people hear how come this program not only comes about, but the concept that produce it. Yes.
Greetings, everyone. I'm going to read a quotation here by Voltaire, I believe. Approaching the city, they encountered a Negro stretched out on the ground, having no longer but half his clothing, that is to say, blue canvas under drawers. The poor man was missing his left leg and his right arm. Oh my God. Candide said to him in the Dutch, "What are you doing there, my friend, in the horrible state in which I see you? I'm waiting for my master, Mr. Van Leder." The famous merchant replied the Negro. "What? Who was it, Mr. Van Leder?" said Candide, "who treated you in this way?" "Yes, sir," said the Negro. "It's the custom. We are given a pair of blue canvas drawers twice a year for clothing. When we work in the refinery and our finger gets caught in the millstone, they cut off our hand. When we want to flee, they cut off our leg. I found myself in both these situations. It is at this place that you eat sugar."
It is at this. Read that again. It is at
It
this.
is at this place. It has this price
Yes.
Support. It is
that
at,
you eat sugar in. Oh my!
that you eat sugar in
Europe.
in Europe.
This place and this price.
Yes, this is the price that you, in other words, my hand cut off, my foot cut off, for you
you
eat
eat
sugar.
In Europe.
Yes. And even eat it here in Jamaica. So, brothers and sisters, you get an idea why we say it's bitter sugar. Bitter sugar. That other part, you want to read that also for me?
This is a more recent excerpt. This book is dedicated to the memory of Mylene Brown, Haitian King Hokoto, murdered on July 7, 1980, shot in the back with 15 bullets of an M1 rifle at the Halamedro military post on the Catenary sugar factory property in Dominican Republic. His crime is unpardonable. He had refused to continue to work without pay. He said no to slavery.
1980. This is what happened.
1980,
Yes, this is our black people. Many of the Haitians go across to the Dominican Republic to
Yes.
work in the sugar plantations. And when they go, they work, they are enslaved. It's worse than slavery. They don't get no pay, all sort of things. And this brother, remind me of his name again, because it is
I think
important.
it's French, but I don't know how to pronounce the French.
Well, my
version.
brother, you know, if I know how.
It's Million Brown.
Yes. And all he did was one day him say, boy, you know, I'm not gonna more. I'm not gonna more. And they use a M1 rifle
M1 rifle
and shot him about 15 times in his back.
in his back.
No justice, no compensation, nothing. Nothing at all. And the book, Bitter Sugar, was written by Maurice Lemon in memory and in honor of that brother who refused to continue to work without pay over in Dominican Republic.
as early as 1980.
And yes, it is 1980. So this is not an old history, as some of you might say, is old history, you know. And there's nothing near old history, brothers and sisters. Nothing at all near old history. Right. So Bongo James and Brother Yeshua, once again, welcome to the program.
Yeah, give thanks.
Give thanks.
Yes.
Give thanks.
Yes.
One love.
Now, you have brought for me, you had a conference between the 1st of August to the 7th of August.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was called International Peacemakers Association. His Imperial Majesty's Mercy Proclamation, Nyabingi Sabbatical Order.
Yes, sir.
That's what it was called. And so on. And you had an agenda. I had really planned to come, but so much things came up during that little time
Yes.
I wasn't able to make it, and then the rains and all sorts of things. But anyway, you know, if you can't come to the mountain, you bring the mountain.
Yeah.
Here. So you have brought me now. I'm glad to see the events did go ahead.
Yes.
And I'm also, you have brought me now a schedule of some of the events that were scheduled there. And I've asked that you give me an idea as to how the conference went and some of the topics which you have highlighted on the agenda, which is very, very interesting. I will say to our listeners, for example, day one, Sunday, the 1st of August, 2021, that was dedicated to remembering the ancestors, both the transitioned and the living.
Yes, sir.
That was day one of the conference they had. Day two, Monday, the 2nd of August, Africa was the center of that discussion, and they discussed some of these things and so on. Well, instead of me saying it, you all are here. So you can say it better than me because you were here. So talk to me now, starting from day one.
Day one.
What happened and so on, and you know, let our listeners know.
We take a few and Congo James take a few.
Yes.
I just remembering the ancestors.
Yes.
You understand? Both now who exist now and those who make the transition.
Yes.
It is important for us as black people, and we just are discussing, to remember where we're coming from. Remember who laid the foundation for you to be here today. The sacrifice that they made. And those that is with us, we call them the elders. What experience and knowledge them have that we can find a way to preserve it. Preserve it that it can guide us. Because right now, our young people and this generation look like we're lost. Because we don't know history. And the way some of us used to know our history. It's like in the village we have the storyteller. Some of them old elders that can tell you some beautiful story and it attract you. So I feel like some of that memory need to be preserved. One of our decision that we came up with, how can we start a movement to create an institution that can preserve the living memory of our elder treat them and care them as His Majesty said. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
We take care of them, so we come up with we now call it old people. And we are saying our founder, Mother Edna, has first designed a home. And this home supposed to take care of elders.
When you say Mother Edna,
Mother Sister Edna Fisher.
Edna Fisher.
Yeah, the founder of International Peacemaker Association. She has dedicated some land and she started the foundation to build this home to take care of our elders. And we feel like it is necessary now, based on what we see. So in the conference and the bingy, we certify that we have put it on bingy jump, that this is something we're supposed to come in now. So we're going to play the jump all night. If you say, yes, we have put out a proclamation that which Sister Edna make and commission nearly 50 years ago must come into being now. Because we see the need and the abuse of our elders. And our elders who
on
have
the road,
that knowledge,
begging,
especially
no
Rastafari elders,
no home.
And them care from a health situation is worse. We want doctors and nurses to come out of our vacation. We have a place where we can have that medical system in place to take care of them too. So it's not only a home we want now. We want the medical facility. We want a hospital, a total care, livity, home setting. So when we say young people come sit down and reason with the elder them, you can know the one who gone already will make them transition, you never hear from them. But the one who there now, in the 90s and 80s, you can say whether you talk about Reverend experience, whether you talk about the Carl Garden experience, then can again you get more knowledge and understanding and where you come from. And we just read about the whole deception of Britain who give us a false federation. And if you will never draw that as an elder now in the book, who wouldn't know? We need these history. We need to preserve them because Babylon get rid of them. Them Corona get rid of most of the elder. So that is one of the things that come out of the conference. We must find the resources now. Whatever you call and we donate to that, my Mother Edna. That's just a start.
And we just want to make our listeners know Mother Edna now. She was the queen, the wife
of Reverend Claudius
of Reverend
Claudius and the founder.
And the founder.
Yes.
So,
and she was a Gaviite before she met Reverend.
Right.
And one of the biggest fisherwomen on the fishing beach down in Kingston here, what we call Greenwich Farm.
Yes.
Of all our own boat.
Yes. Very,
she was
very
a
important.
Powerful black woman.
Very good.
Newspaper report 1 hour, but we don't go in this. So we are saying we want to livicate this. So when we play the drum the whole night, that was what our mind and part of the conference to bring this into fulfillment. When we James take Africa and we come back again.
Yes, that remembering Mother Edna, and also the idea of a special home for our elders is a beautiful thought that we must all work to ensure that it comes into existence.
Yes.
Because we see too much of our elders
in abuse.
Yes, on the road, in destitute situation, and the government and these people, they just simply classify them as homeless, and that comforts their mind that they are homeless.
Yeah.
How can you call people
it make no sense.
Homeless? They have a right to be here and a right to live, and all you do is classify them as homeless, and your conscience is clear.
Because you rob them of them bird rights, you call them homeless.
Definitely.
You know business with them now. For the designation, homeless means you don't care for them.
And
that is serious.
Especially downtown Kingston, there is a lot of these people that they call homeless, many of whom I have spoken to. There's one particular lady, and she tells me of the days when she would walk with bricks on her head to build her little house over there in Rima. She walked with brick, and every week she used to sell newspaper and sell some other things. And every week she make sure buy Sometimes when the money can afford to buy a dozen brick or half dozen brick, she would buy it and carry it on her head and gradually build her little house. And when the politicians start them war over in Rima, she had to run, leave her house. And she had to parcel out her children, giving 2 to one sister, giving 3 to one, giving 1 boy to another. And that was what destroyed her family. And she couldn't go back to her home which she built because the gunshots were firing by day and by night. So this is the government that is responsible for her. It is their political activities that led such a sister to decide to live on, well, not to decide, but end up living on the streets. She built her home, brick by brick, carrying the brick on her head, and she had to run, leave it because of your style of political that you built in the country.
Oh, hungry.
Yes.
Tribalism.
So, you know, we have a duty to help them. And I'm very glad the Peacemakers is taking this initiative, and that those can you leave an email or a number that any of our listeners who would like to help.
Yes, sir.
Whether you want to bring
a brick or a block.
Yes. Or a bed, a basket, whatever. You go and call the brothers, they're going to leave their email and their number. So we don't want it just to be a nice sounding talk shop that we say here. We want you, the listeners, also to participate, to provide them. We can give them clothing too, but not all clothing, proper clothing and so on. Brothers, sisters, and so on. So please, you won't give them your number now or your email that they can.
Yes, you can give them.
But first I come to, we are now in the preparation for the construction fields. So we will take the contribution to the construction fields.
Whatever it is, people must call and contribute.
Yes, so
you might not have no money, you can contribute labor. You can come saw a piece of wood, you can come help dig the foundation, but a little more than talk.
Yes.
So whatever it is, they get in touch with you and you can say, look, I'm going to need 2 bags of cement. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to need 5 pieces 2x4, 16 length. You know, yes. I'm going to need a couple sheets of plywood. So that if they can either give the money or they want to go and buy it and bring it come, or they want to buy it and ask you to come and pick it up, I'm sure you'll gladly organize that. But each one teach one, each one build on one. And I'm certain that it will make it a little faster.
Yeah, and that is the principle that Reverend Cladison used to build all of those beautiful structures that some of them we want to renovate, some of the purpose. So it's really taking our little put together. He wasn't depending on a big loan from nowhere else, just members.
If he did, they would have come seize it now.
So, Brother James,
yes.
Can talk about some of the.
But just give the numbers and the email that persons can link with.
Yes, the greetings everyone, especially our Peacemaker family who are listening, Sister B and others who are currently hearing our voice. The email for firstly bongo.james 888@gmail.com, and the number that they can call is 382-8724.
Repeat it again.
382-8724. That's the number that they can
382-8724. All right, we're gonna breaks right there. When you come back, we're gonna give the number again, but we're gonna take a station break right now.
Yes, sir.
One.
I told them here, but I mean, it was supposed to be 7.99, so I take the next one at 9. Odds and then a song. And
no problem.
Ketis was trying to contact you. Separate. Ketis was trying to contact you.
She did.
Interview.
Yes, for Brother Jelani.
Yeah.
She gave you the number?
No, she just sent me a press release. No, me said we can get a number from her.
I think she gave me. Can say for it.
Okay. She just sent me a press release. No number, nothing this.
Mother, Mama Africa, I'm still 21,000 miles away from home. Mother, Mama Africa, I'm still 21,000 miles away from home. I can still feel your pain in this commercial world. Life is an organized game, and I'm still trying to find the tricks in the trade. Oh yes, you're still having day and night ride. Oh yes, you're still having day and night ride. Mother, Mama Africa, I'm still 21,000 miles away from home. Mother, Mama Africa, I'm still 21,000 miles away from home. Where is the story? Give us the glory. In Egypt, we performed the first brain surgery.
Write down the number for me, Jelani. 851.
Still make us a great history. Mother,
851
Mama
2674.
2674.
851 2674.
Yeah.
historically there is still shows, and we got to stop them now. I unite in Africa, I say, unite Africans all the way. I unite in Africa, I say, unite Africans all the way. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I unite in Africa, I say, Mama Africa, I'm still 21,000 miles away from home. Mama Africa, I'm still 21,000 miles away from home. Tell them Marcus Garvey, tell them. Tell them Bob Marley, tell them. Nelson Mandela, I tell them. Malcolm X, I tell them. Martin Luther King, I tell them. King Selassie, I tell them. I unite in Africa, I say. Unite Africans all the way. I unite in Africa, I say. Unite Africans all the way. I unite in Africa, I say. Unite Africans all the way.
The African Sledge. Beautiful song, very good song, very good song. Beautiful African Sledge. A united Africa all the way, a united Africa, I say. The Honorable Marcus Garvey taught us that is when Africa's salvation will come. He patterned it. He says, look, we have to have the United States of Africa. And that's the only way Africa can survive, brothers and sisters. That's the only way.
Sure.
All of these African countries, single-handedly, they were ahead of China. Developmentally, economically, and so on. They were ahead of China. All of them had all sorts of railways and so long before China had, and so on. But a united China make a big difference. And at this united Africa, you see where we are. That now China has to be giving Africa loans, lending Africa, sending skilled and other persons to help to develop Africa, when we were way ahead of them in the 1950s and 60s and so on, early 70s. So we have to unite, as African Sledge has said. That's the brother who gave us that beautiful song on Leonard Howell. So I'm really glad to have that interjected there and so on. Yes, you want to continue the program now? Mm-hmm.
Yes, as Congo James just pick up in the second day.
Mhm.
You know, see, and he also a beautiful experience with was elders on the streets. Can't even get slight mention because he have 20 year work in the street people.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yes. Go ahead, no brother.
Yes, even the shelter around from where you.
Yes,
I-
around by Church Street there.
Yes, yes.
No, not Church Street, Hanover Street.
Hanover Street.
Hanover
yes.
Street, yes.
I usually frequent there
Yes.
from in the 90s, right up until recently because the coronavirus. I'm not around there. No, because
Yes.
they have it on lockdown, but up to very recently, I was actively working.
And your impression of it?
My impression of it is it's an institution, and you know there is a mixed body of persons there. It's government run, you know, so them have some amount of resource. It's not it's much better than when I went there in the 90s, you know, in terms of, you know, they're having more facilities and so on. But again, I believe strongly that um, we could set up an example as, in fact, I wanted to even elaborate on the reason why we embarked on the infirmary, or should I say, Sister Edna's course. It actually came from this book here
Mhm.
that we had developed. Um, the Utterance Bible of His Imperial.
The Utterance Bible.
Of His Imperial
Right,
Majesty.
right.
This was the source of the inspiration for the infirmary, from the standpoint that when the idea came to bring this Bible into being, it was on the basis of wanting to have um, the Rastafarian family or universe or community have a canon by which all disputes and the disagreements can be settled, because we have the word of our God to anchor whatever opinions we may have, you know, in a way that will unify us as a body, so that out of that institutions can, you know, be built in the name and in the image and likeness of His Imperial Majesty through the consistency of our unity, because we are all one in His word. So, because we recognize that all oppression is hatched from some institution. Even slavery was called by the Southerners their peculiar institution. So we recognize that the institutional level is where oppression is really hatched, and then now subsequently manifested on us.
Mhm.
And if we ourselves don't become institutional in our ability to express ourselves, then we cannot replace the institutions that has the name of our oppression, from the World Bank to the IMF and so on. All of these, even religious, academic institutions, right, medical,
Mm.
a lot of the oppression homes, the ideas of oppression are hatched in these areas. And if we are to truly encounter a meaningful final confrontation with oppression, then we will have to become institutionally prowess as well as a nation. And without a canon in which we can all settle our disputes and move in unity, then we will never attain institutional um, consciousness. So this infirmary or this home is what we want to use as our touchstone in which to begin the process of creating institutions that will and should replace the institutions of this world that hatch oppression. We want
So
to know
true.
build institutions that will know be meaningful according to the vision that His Imperial Majesty has for the world. We want to be able to replace IMF. We want to be able to replace World Bank. We want to be able to replace these places that act as cockatrice eggs that hatch oppression on us. And unless we can take the fight to that level, then there will always be a stronghold in which this thing can recur as a decimal in our life as well.
Mhm.
So we wanted to ensure that we can test, because there is a level of righteousness within Babylon when it comes to institution, because you know these things are heavily resource absorbing things. They really call for money, they really call for cooperation, and hence we too have to go through that baptism of fire, but still have to come on the other side being better at institutionalization than the one that right now is being used to oppress us. And hence we want to be able to start that process using His Imperial Majesty's words, using his vision for the world, and use now this information as a microcosm, as an incubator by which we can exercise our institutional prowess and our institutional maturity, so to speak, as a movement. We desire a place where we recognize that there is a value in our elders. I experienced one evening talking with a lady who had a 90-year-old mother, and she's bedridden, and she was silent while I was having a conversation with her. But when we started talking about Reverend Claudius Edward, this lady became animated and began talking about courtroom intrigue with Reverend Claudius Henry, how he was there with his rod moving, with his hand chanting and moving backward and forward as he was testifying. And she read every newspaper on Reverend. And I mean, she became not loud but animated, excited. She couldn't make this bedridden lady stop talking. She was just talking with such clarity and such succinctness. I couldn't believe that this was a 90-year-old woman who could remember such detail. This lady was just there sitting down, bedridden, and suddenly she jumped to life because she had stories in her of courtroom intrigue that she tracked every day until the sentencing of Reverend Claudius Henry. We would never have thought that she had such interest in her youthful days. And we believe that there's a lot of those hidden treasures waiting. So it's not an infirmary for us, it's an institution of ancient wisdom.
Diamonds in the rough.
Yes, where our young people, in exchange for their taking care of our elders, they get wisdom that is beyond their years. So it's a place of exchange. It's a clearinghouse for wisdom transfer. It's not just a sorry for place.
And it's very important what you have said. Not a sorry for place.
No, it's not a sorry for place. It's a place where dignity is held up on both sides. Young and the old.
Some years ago.
Young and the ancient, I should say.
Sister Rita Marley started something like that out at the
Scotch Glass.
No, there was a hotel in St. Mary that the Marleys had bought. I think it named Casa Monte or Casa Maria, something like that. When you're traveling from St. Mary to Ocherius and all, you pass it. It's still there now. It looks like it has changed hands. Or so, I don't know. But Sister Rita had intended to set up an elders' home there. And had started, No, it was a sorry for place. And it was a place, and we're guided by that now as we're going to set up this one. Many of these elders, despite their poorness, despite their struggling, they have their pride. They have their dignity.
Yes.
And they don't want to be seen to be sitting down there daily. And you bring breakfast, come, I eat, I laze about. You bring lunch, come, I eat, I laze about. You bring dinner, come, I eat, then I go to sleep, wake up the next day and go through that cycle. And that was what was happening at Casa Monte. They would like to do something. There were some of them who could crochet, they wanted to crochet. Some of them could sew, they wanted machine to sew. Some of them could make basket weaving and so on, But these were not provided for them. So they felt wasted.
Yes.
Waiting to die.
And when as you mentioned, waiting to die, when the first one died out there, the rest just take off.
Mhm.
The rest just take off from out there. So, no, sir. That's all that happened. We are put here to die.
And that's
They
how the
just
Babylon
took
system
her.
works. The
Yes.
Babylon system is a parking place where
You park your elders.
park the elders and wait for them to die,
Definitely.
or hope for them to die, and even subliminally engineer the place to hasten that towards
Oh, yes. Yes, man.
because there's a lack of value associated with the elder. You understand?
Absolutely. In other
Right.
words, the quicker them dead now, it's
Yes,
better.
that becomes the value system.
I used to live on Goodwill Avenue or Fairmount View Avenue, and they have an old people's home up there.
Mhm.
And where I used to live was the club above that old people home. And at night time, I used to hear when them would beat those
Oh, my
people.
goodness.
Beat them. You know, you must say go sleep. Boof.
Mm.
You know, you must say eat. Boof.
Can't work, sir.
I used to watch people drive them Benz and them park it down Tucker Avenue and walk with them paper bag, come up to go look for them mother. No one nobody to see them
See.
car park there. So
Mm.
that's how ashamed they were.
Mhm.
Park their elders to die.
Mhm.
And almost every week somebody dead over that road.
Yes.
Almost every week.
Sometimes it's without them even understanding. They are engineering.
There are times when I have to walk over there in my pajama shirt. So look, at least I'd like for, you know, I can't rest up there with this go on down here. It was badly. It was bad, brother. And I call it out because I can back it up. It was horrible how they treated those elders. Disgraceful. They would beat them and they would die. And all that happened is that people could pay their money.
And this is the nature of Babylon image institutions.
So I want when you set up all of this now, we're going to learn from all of that.
Yes, yes.
Who can sew, give them machine. Who can weave, bring.
As I say, it's a clearinghouse for ancient wisdom to the younger. So whether it's craftsman, philosophy, science, old proverbs, whatever it is that these bodies have collected as seeds of wisdom,
Mhm.
of ancient wisdom, they were able to successfully transfer those knowledge in a way that uphold them dignity and give them a sense that their life had meaning.
You know how nice it is when I used to go down a park or sit down and listen to some of the elders in a park.
Yes.
It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And them just do it by them own. But them feeling
Storytellers,
good.
yes,
Yes.
to know
And you
that.
go sit down and just feel
Yes.
comfortable to sit down and listen.
So
You
our
understand?
storytellers, our singers, our craftsmen, our artisans of ancient will be able to transfer their heirlooms and wealth
Yeah.
to younger people who's taking
As-
care of them.
Definitely.
As
And you know this foolishness that's about you can't teach old dogs new tricks is rubbish. Because I see so much people in my age group now who are master the computer.
Yes,
And I myself I get much better at it. You understand what I mean? Foolishness, and there's so much other things that you can teach them.
Yes.
So, and when a person feel that they're making a
Oh
contribution,
my.
them get younger.
them stay with us longer.
This is an institution that I believe is of the image and likeness of the vision of His Imperial Majesty
Oh, yes.
for the world.
Yes.
And these are the type of institution we want to show, because they will say, boy, it takes cash to care. But we believe that when you invoke the universe in these institutions to do the heavy lifting, we use the pyramids of Giza as our model. The energy and the willingness that went into building those things is not the same that current technology used to build their architecture. And yet the architecture, the energy of love is what I believe was used to build the pyramids that has stood the test of time to this very day in terms of its complexity, its engineering, its mathematics, its connection to the cosmos. Everything is there to suggest that there is a level of man's ability to do the impossible when they are able to solicit the universe to their aid. And this institution will be our pyramid as peacemakers, in which we will build something that its only existence will be the evidence, but everything else will say a place like this should not exist based off what they know institutions to be. This place should not exist. by their criteria. This is why they have stated it, because it's right there in front of them.
Absolutely. No. So just reminding our listeners, the number is 28724. Don't come make contribution when the thing done, you know. We want in its embryonic stage. We want you to find ways and means to assist. If it's a day out of the week that you can give to help Bill, please, 382-8724, the home for elders, right there on the Peacemakers property,
Yes.
down there
Because
at
again,
19
it will
miles.
be our institution of learning as to how to build proper institutions. So it is also a place that we'll be using to educate ourselves in terms of, so that it can be modeled other places, so that we can become experts, that whichever other ground wants to do something like this, we will be experts, because we will be cutting our teeth in this. We can also say that October the 5th, which is Decision Day,
Yeah,
forever,
we're doing
is the
groundbreaking.
day that we're going to do a groundbreaking, now being here, one line now being here, to again solicit the energy of the universe to help us, so that
And
with
that's
the willing
October the
hearts,
5th.
October 5th,
This
Decision
year.
Day. Yes,
Decision Day. You
yes.
got Decision Day.
That's
Beautiful.
that's what Reverend called it when he
When
was
they put in a project in place.
for Back to Africa, when he printed the blue card and said they have to come to Rosalie. It was Decision Day.
Decision
But it
Day,
never
October
happened,
the
but
5th.
we believe that this is our Decision Day,
Well,
where we will crossing over to institutionalization according to His Imperial Majesty vision of the world.
yes.
Where what proper institution for humanity looks like.
Beautiful.
That we are-
Beautiful.
That's our Decision Day.
You mentioned October the 5th, Decision Day, the Peacemakers Association there at 19 miles,
19 miles.
groundbreaking for the
Yes.
We don't
The elders.
name it.
Yes, the elders' home.
That's such a beautiful African name.
We're going to find it.
But
We're
they
going to find it.
existed not touched somewhere along the line.
Of course, we're going to
Yes.
find it.
Yes.
And we should remember now, the 4th of October, the day before,
Yeah.
we'll be journeying to Brownstown. That is the day now when Javon and Justine Cullum, the two brothers that were arrested and beaten and pepper sprayed and brutalized at the Brownstown police station. Yes, you heard about it? Yes, two brothers, they were, police accosted them, said that it's COVID time and them should be off the road.
Oh, yes.
And before them know it, them was pepper spray,
Yes,
beaten
yes,
and
yes.
carried to station.
Yes.
Their mother had to come and rescue them.
Yeah, he wrote it.
And with police officers telling them, we're going to put you in cell 1 because that's where the sodomites are.
No, boy.
All that, yes, man. So
That is
we, and the
total
4th now,
violation.
they are going to go to court on the 4th in Brownstown. And so we are going to go there with our drums and we're going to be protesting and demonstrating. Firstly, we are going to be celebrating, well, not celebrating, but we're going to be going there in solidarity with the brothers.
Yes.
And then now we're going to demonstrate against the Brownstown police, because we think all those police officers who were involved in this brutality must be out of the government institution. All of them must know we're not going to stop until they're out of that government institution. You cannot abuse people that way, and so on. The Brownstown was filled with people. There were people there jerking chicken, bars were open, many people on the road. Yet the police singled out these two brothers and pepper sprayed them, beat them up, dragged them into the station, and so on. But hear what? Fortunately, that, and it wasn't done by the brothers, a lot of what took place in the station was taped. Somebody turned on their tape.
Technology and cellular phone.
And that person has made it available to us.
Yeah. Can carry out.
So we know whenever we say anything, a lie and this and that never happened.
Yeah.
And if you hear some of the words the police were saying inside that station,
Yes.
it will shock you. So I'm not going to play the tape yet.
No, sir. Court involved.
Yes.
No, you know that.
So make it come up at the court first.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? Then But if it take too long at the court, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it on here. Because you can't be wearing government uniform
And abuse
and say the things that were said on that tape. You can't. It's disrespectful. And I want, if the officers not hearing me, I want those officers who listen to this program religiously will tell the officers there that them better resign before we start playing those tapes. Them better resign. Because this ain't no 9-day wonder or no joke business. That you are saying those type of things. Yeah, man. And you can prepare from now as much as you want to say it's fabricated. It make up. It cut and paste. Prepare all your excuse from now.
Yes.
We are prepared for it. We are prepared for it. You know what I mean?
To the test.
Yes, man. Because, you know, them start circulate all sort of things against Nzinga, the police force.
Yes.
And then them have the audacity to say that them have our own video. One officer told a family member of mine, we have our own video. So I said, oh yes, bring it on. Bring the video. And I don't see nobody respond. We have challenged the commissioner of police. Him say, I'm investigating. How come when I'm arresting people and then investigate? Why you don't arrest this police lady who trained the sister and then investigate?
No. We the poorer class.
You arrest first and then investigate.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, we could continue now.
Yeah,
so you're talking about the conference.
Yes.
Day 2 now.
Africa Day.
Africa Day. What took
Bongo
place on
James.
that day, Bongo James?
Well, we are. What are you doing that day?
Well, it marked
We
Africa.
discussed, yes, man.
Conflict with Ethiopia,
Yeah,
Egypt,
Yeah, we
Tigray conflict,
Yeah.
South Africa riots, the Congo, Rwanda, AU becoming Europe's stooge.
Yes.
Oh yes, the AU has become
Oh,
Europe's stooge.
So we highlight all of these conflict in Africa.
Yes.
And in highlight them, we say we have put it on the jump. So we have break it down. No more we are stand aside and look. Because if we chant, we jump in the choice essence of our love and we truth of Rastafari, something are gonna happen. In a them can what you happen in South Africa now. If we should wake up tomorrow morning and say, look, Rastafari is a truth from our heart. And when we say playing the jump in the choice and death to black and white oppressor, in the 60s and the 50s, in my young days, when me a little boy with my father keep bingy at me yard and them a play them thing. And me hear that round hurt, them a go and name it. Why is it to have the power of that bingy they know? We have it same way, but we must go up with the faith.
Death to the Pope.
Yeah, coordinate
Death to
the
the
sound.
Yes.
Coordinate the sound, the vibration of the voice, and remember the drum play of a key, the heartbeat, and the foot in the play for the bar.
Do good.
So how you gonna do it now? Synchronize the voice. As long as you synchronize the voice.
And on top of that, we discovered that when we have a conference before and discuss and meet a consensus, like in the evening before we went to play the conference,
We do the conference.
and we discuss the
All of these issues.
the topic, and then when we reach that consensus, that is when we now
Go play the drum.
and play the drum. We recognize that the Naya being operate far different than when we just go there and just play. When we meet, when we have a consensus, it appears that something like the universe opens up like a lotus flower and the team just running on different type of energy.
Beautiful.
Than the one.
Yeah, so we'll start the conference about 5 o'clock.
Yes.
And by 7, 8, we'll come outside. We go straight to the bingy with the decision making.
Yes.
And we start. And we say sometimes we get some sweet bingy.
Bro.
Because you play with a one card mind, if you know, say, that we are trample on. That's how we do it.
Because if you look at the
hold on, no, Day 2 Africa, that was these African
right,
principles.
all the issues because
were
the
discussed.
Bing is about really and truly recognizing and confronting systemic racism to see how in its various forms it plays out in the oppression of us as blah 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 people in its various ways. So whether it's you know us dealing with our ancestors, if we don't deal with them right, it's because of how we have been rewired in terms of the systemic racism within us towards our ancestors, just like what they said about the people parking their vehicles far away before they go to them parents at the home, and so they didn't want. It's a type of systemic racism that is inside us as by people treating our elders in this fashion, the same thing.
Yeah, imagine
Africa.
you see a mother where you used to
See
clean you
mother,
when you're a
exactly.
baby. And now when she's elderly, when
Yeah,
you should
You
have
don't want
clean
your
her.
status. You don't want the
Right.
status to be seen.
Yeah, man,
The
it's
same
graceful.
thing. The same thing with the debt being used as a system of coercion and a system of shackling. So even with this thing about how can we ask for the type of reparations from the UK, the first thing we can do is have them cancel all external debt.
Well,
From
day 3 now, I see day 3
Dirty,
says,
right?
death to colonial debt.
yes.
Debt. So
Yes.
death, DEATH,
Yeah.
to colonial debt,
Yes.
DEBT.
The debt that they
Yes.
use to saddle our future children with to say that they owe this,
Yes.
and they don't even burn it.
Yes.
We need death to that because that is preventing us from buying our own plane where we can have we can move straight from Jamaica to Addis Ababa. If that debt was to be cleared up or to be a part of the reparation negotiation, to say all external debts that is coming from the 1800s or the 19 during the IMF crisis, all of those debts are to be are not cancelled, be paid for by the reparation. Then we can be able to even buy our own plane to move from Jamaica to Addis Ababa straight. We can be able to do things so the type of debt that is used as a system of keeping us in this sort of slavery.
Yes.
Economic slavery.
Yeah, because just imagine you are working, you are cutting you, and you get $10 for your pay.
Exactly.
And out of that $10 you are paying
$7
$7 and $8 towards debt. So you're carrying home $2.
Interest rate system.
You understand? So which now you have rent for pay, light bill for pay, water rate for pay. Send your picnic go to school.
It's oppression.
So it's
oppression.
Yeah, man. So I want you to understand, listeners. The brothers are saying that we have to cancel enough. And these were some immoral debts too, you know.
Yes, very immoral.
Some of them was
They
some
use
debts.
tricks. They use tricks and interest and exchange rates, manipulations and so on.
And some of those debts some of those money never came to Jamaica, you know.
Going to somebody's pocket.
Yes, it never reached here.
Sinking fund.
Just like it never reached 80 after the great
earthquake.
You know,
Of 2000.
It stopped in the big American
Yes.
pocket.
It never reached 80. Look at the billions that were
and put up himself
collected.
as the collector.
Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton.
You know, I don't have a permit to call the name.
Well, truth is a perfect defense, you know.
Yes.
Defamation. It's a perfect defense.
Yes.
And I've heard many Americans call on the Clintons to explain that whole 80 debacle.
Yes.
And I have not yet seen an explanation. I don't know if it come out and I don't see it because I don't, every single news item I don't follow up there. But it has been said so many times. It said so during the Hillary campaign. It played an important part why Hillary never win.
Mm-hmm.
Because they said that her skirt tail was tainted with the blood of Haiti and the blood of Libya.
Yes, truly.
Those were two areas that and we should go on and bring up that topic. She tried to duck it out.
The Benghazi
issue. And which caused the killing of the U.S. ambassador that haunted her through the campaign and the Haiti situation. When I think there was a rice issue where they just wanted to send rice to Haiti or something like that. And she went to many functions and said, a rice issue. And then she knows Haiti she's talking about and then try to duck it out. All of that. So that was day 2, day 3, the depth. And then day 4 now was the
unity of
solidarity of Rastafari.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
We were hoping that we were using the widow and the fatherless as a keystone in which we can unite, and that if we all look to care for these two, then all the differences that we have should be able to be overcome by such a pure plight. You know, if we are into the protection the militant protection of our widows and fatherless, then it could become a source of our unity in spite of our differences as well.
Absolutely. And in spite of our difficulties.
Difficulties, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So this could be a basis of unity. In spite of,
great day,
flag,
yes.
Flag turn upside down, flag, whatever, these things we can say on this basis. We can unite as Rastafari.
Beautiful.
Right.
Now, and day 5 now, what you are there for day 5?
The World Peace Day.
World Peace Day.
Right.
I want to point out some of the conflicts
that is happening.
Yes.
Palestine-Israel conflict.
All of these things which has the same systemic racism thing locked into the whole colonial project and so on that is fomenting these type of conflicts all over the world. We wanted, because we're international peacemakers, we wanted the same, this mischief that is causing these things to be addressed.
Absolutely.
In these
and as you said, that I read from my little book that I brought here, the Palestine question and the American context.
Yes.
The
it's
issue
a continuation.
Is America.
Yes.
Is America.
A mischief thing.
You go and you give Israel all of that weaponry. 1 billion worth of weapons every year. And you expect and the
nuclear bomb too.
And them have nuclear bomb also. And the whole Zionist excuse and so on. And you watch Israel kill 200 odd people. And the Palestinians managed to get in some rockets and them kill 12 people.
And you call them the terrorists.
Yes. And you so the Palestinian question and the American context, we have to put that there. Good. That is good thinking, good conference. Friday the 6th now, what you had on Friday the 6th?
Well, we had now the conference where we invited the speakers to come and, talk about various things that is happening within Rastafari, as well as to inaugurate the book, the Utterance Bible on that day, to actually bring it up, to say that we would love to begin our canonization campaign. Of such a holy book.
Right. Developing and strengthening Rastafari institutions. We're going to listen to Sister Ayola now. Yes. Let us hear Sister Ayola now as she comes in. Sister Ayola. Ayeola.
Some praises to Jah, Salam Wadada, peace and love to me brothers and sisters, Satama Sakana. Give back some praises to Jah, Salam Wadada, peace and love to me brothers and sisters. From the day of creation, He's there for our sins. Still we deny the Almighty within. Give me the strength, Lord, to do thy will. Open up my heavens with your warm tranquil. Satama Sakana. Give thanks and praises to Jah. Salam Wadada. Peace and love to me brothers and sisters. Satama Sakana. Give thanks and praises to Jah. Salam Wadada. Peace and love to me brothers and sisters. Sitting in their lurking places, waiting for the innocent. You praying, but Jah is not content. These are the things which cause his heart to rage. Without Jah, this earth, what is it worth? Will take nothing less. Satama Sakana. Give thanks and praises to Jah. Salam Wadada. Peace and love to me brothers and sisters. Satama Sakana. Give thanks and praises to Jah. Salam Wadada. Peace and love to me brothers and sisters. So away with your dirty living, just let Peace and love to me brothers and sisters. Give thanks and praises to Jah.
Beautiful voice there of Empress Ayula. Beautiful. Yes. Peace and love to my brothers and sisters. So we have covered, we have said day 6 now, Saturday the 7th, what that was a sabbatical.
Before we finish day 6, we said the most important thing out of this Bible. And we choose to give organization and institution that can help them cause. And Brother Miguel, you were one who was chosen to be given one of the original copy of the Utterance Bible. So on behalf of the Peacemakers, International Peacemaker Association,
Yes.
we present to you
Yes.
this
We have to stand up for that in our country.
this divine moment.
Yes. Yes, sir.
This divine
So the
moment.
brothers have brought my copy.
Yeah.
Of
Your
the,
copy
yes.
of
Of
His
the-
Because we would have
Majesty.
loved for you to have come and given a speech because
Yes.
you know you had things
Yes.
to say.
Mhm.
Well,
But,
we have
but
only
because of
only
the
for days.
Nzinga, but
Yeah.
because
Only
of
for
the
days.
Nzinga, incident, then we understood your important absence.
Yes.
Was that.
So brothers and
With all the
sisters
love of
listening.
Peacemaker,
Yes.
brethren, Rastafari, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie, we give you a love,
So
a
brothers
love
and sisters.
contribution.
and to thank you as one who used to print his words in time past, and we acknowledge that work that you did at Head Start. concerning
Give
his
thanks.
words.
So all our listeners here, I'm being presented on air a copy of the His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie Utterance Bible. And this entire Bible is the words of His Imperial Majesty. And I want to congratulate the brothers and sisters at the Peacemakers Association, and how pleased, first of all, Brother Claudius Henry
Yes, sir.
and Mama Henry must be
Truly.
to know that
Yes,
their
truly.
works have reached this level.
Yes, sir.
This is fantastic that the journey continues
Yes.
in such a bright light.
Yes, sir.
They having laid such a tremendous foundation.
Yes, sir.
We really give thanks.
Bless
It's an honor for me,
Yes, sir.
and naturally I have it, bitter sugar of it.
Yes.
So you know, excerpts from it
Yes, sir.
will come
Yes, sir.
regularly
Thanks.
on the air.
Thanks.
Yes,
The-
sir.
the- this presentation is very, very good,
Yes, sir.
and the quality of the presentation
Yes, sir.
will go a far way
Yes, sir.
in us enjoying it.
Blessed Lord.
Yes, I give thanks.
Give
Give
thanks.
thanks. Yes, I. So, brothers and sisters, we give thanks, and those who are watching on the internet and so on, because laddie, they can still see us on the bit on the
You can hear us.
on the Best FM, on the Best FM
I can hear.
yes, the Best FM
Website.
website.
All right.
All right, and so on. Just I flip the pages, and this section says general education, and it says here, encourage. This subsection is encouraged. 14. After a few years, when it was arranged for the pupils of Tefari Makonnen School to receive examinations sent from schools in Europe, there were many who passed the examination and obtained elementary school certificates. When we were then satisfied with the intelligence of the Ethiopian pupils and the diligence of the teachers, we were encouraged to double our efforts. As we used to see for ourselves, whenever we visited a school, their diligence, which was resulting in the advancement of the pupils, we still remember the teachers who were here at that time. Then we had only these students who proved progressive and diligent in their studies, sent abroad for pursuing their education. Whereas most of these flowers of youth grown in this school were destroyed by Italy's massacre. Some have been spared by God and are now serving this country. And as I read that part, I remember when Dougie Mack was one of the brothers who went to Ethiopia and met His Majesty. He was part of the delegation that included 3 Rastafarians, Dougie Mack, Mortimer Planner, and Fillmore Alvaranga. I remember when I was at high school in 6th form, there were days when I would go up to Dougie Mack's yard at Warwicker Hill. And I walked with my little exercise book, and I remember saying to Dougie Mack, just tell me exactly what His Majesty says. Exactly what he says. And I'm certain there were many Sundays that I took up Dougie Mack's time and took him away from cooking his rice and peas and so on. But he was very diligent and very patient with that. And one of the things I remember him saying to me that His Majesty said, the Italian invasion took away many great sons and daughters that he was bringing up and grooming to rule Ethiopia. Many of them had to leave their studies, leave their profession, and take up arms to defend the motherland. And many of them died. And he said, His Majesty said, this pained him so much. And to see now, that's the passage I've opened. Where he says, whereas most of these flowers of youth grown in this school were destroyed by Italy's massacre. Some have been spared by God and are now serving their country. I remember that passage very well, that Brother Dougie Mack told me. So my brother, the worth of the book is invaluable.
Yes.
I thank you all. And I thank all those listening and peacemakers, all those recording. Yeah, man, put it in the annals of time.
Yes, the honor.
His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie Utterance Bible. Yes.
Give thanks and praise. Rastafari live.
Yes.
And as we close up the Sabbath with Thanksgiving, you know?
Yes, so I forgot to print another one too, you know, because I've just completed another works here. I've just written it out. I've had it typed out, but it needs some fixing up recently. And I have named this one now 100 Great Principles of Haile Selassie.
That's all.
Yes, 100 Great Principles of Haile Selassie. And let me give you an idea. These are excerpts from the King himself, from the Majesty. And to give you an idea what is here, His Majesty said, a man's faculty attains a higher level of development and sophistication. No, as man's faculty attains a higher level of development and sophistication, so do his wants in life.
I have that banalica plaque.
All right, you have that plaque already. All right. You have another one here. He says, mankind, be it in the past, present, or future, has always been judged not by color or creed, but by the wealth of its knowledge. Yes. Not so much. Yes. I mean, Trump has a lot of money, but people always say Trump is an idiot. You understand what I mean? The wealth of its knowledge.
Yes.
There are a part here where he says, it is our conviction that all the activities of the children of men, which are not guided by spirit and counsel of God, will bear no lasting fruit.
Whoa.
They will not be accepted in the sight of the Lord, and will therefore come to naught as the Tower of Babel came to naught. Judgment.
Give thanks.
Judgment.
If I never start, I don't come to James this research and looking at it when I'm present, I would not say His Majesty. I just go upon some little ordinary
Yes.
thing. I would not say His Majesty. So many
You hear this one now.
proclamation.
Peace cannot reign. Peace cannot reign in an atmosphere reeking with poverty and hunger.
Yes.
Whoa.
And that's in the Bible as well.
Yes. Peace can't reign. If a man is hungry and in poverty, you talk peace to him, brethren. All I think about is how to lick down somebody. Yes. And if him can go over a fence and take 2 mango, he might do it. It's a reality of life. So peace cannot reign in an atmosphere reeking with poverty and hunger. Yeah, this one I'm saying now. Love thy brother as thyself is a noble message which the gospel teaches us to observe. It is only when these words are translated into deeds that man can contribute his share to the good and well-being of his community and to humanity at large. So these are nice words, but if it's not translate, you understand? It don't mean nothing.
Make no sense, man.
Yeah.
His Majesty, awesome.
He says marriage effected at the proper time is apt to be fruitful in several respects, in healthy children and strengthening of the race. Offspring from premature marriage, on the other hand, are usually weak.
What a statement.
Marriage should be entered into after a maximum standard of education has been reached. You don't run into them things there, you know?
What
and so on.
Oh.
And of course, when his queen had passed, he says, may these tears we shed be accepted by God as the price for peace in Ethiopia and in the world. May these tears be shed.
Bongo, Miguel, His Majesty, I'm amazed me as a matter of work, but it gets so practical
Yes.
that we as Rastafari can become more unified in our thought.
Yes.
Ultimate seeing His Majesty works and vision. In action, we shouldn't be so divided. The houses, yes, but we all have one God.
Yes.
If we don't have nothing common as the house, we have one principle, His Majesty.
Yes.
Is King and God.
But I don't worry about that so much here. Why? You see, the works is what will bring the unity.
Yes.
Truly.
If we all leave out from Agda Park Road here, and we're going to Montego Bay, and 20 cars and buses push out. Along the way, if a car breaks down, we will say to the occupants of that car, come over into one of the buses or one other car. And the 19 other vehicles will continue the journey. If when we reach highway, whatever, another thing break down, again we would say, you know what? We try to fix it. If it doesn't fix, the occupants there will find space in the other 18 vehicles and we continue on the journey. And eventually, all of us will reach Montego Bay. The goal is to reach there, and the pursuit is there. So it's the same way if we start to work. If we're all working to build that elders' home at the Peacemakers, then we won't even have time to address Nenge and who will notice Miguel on wear certain type of shoes. And you won't even have time to notice that.
Truly.
Because we will be devoted to making sure
that
the foundation is dug, that the things are put in, that we get the, wherever we have to go, we must get the lumber, we must get the zinc, we must get the cement, and we pursue that. And if you go and get 2 bags of cement, I go and get 2 sheets of lumber, the kingdom will be built.
Yes.
So my aim is that just pursue, just move at the goal. Remember I'm talking about the unity, it will attain.
That's what we are.
Because whoever don't want to come, you don't just stay, but him going to see the edifice built, and he's going to be jealous. Yes.
Give thanks. Give thanks and place that clarity and that emphasis. Because sometimes we have placed emphasis on a unity where everybody not see it.
Yes.
And the goal out there, so we not pay attention to it. And I agree with you. We all want to reach Montego Bay. By any means necessary. Go. Give thanks.
Right. At the back of this book with the 100 Great Principles of Majesty, a writer, his name will soon come to me, he had wrote to His Majesty, but he had written a book named Mr. Ray. And he had wrote to His Majesty asking for certain things. He had asked His Majesty to give him a history of the great kings of Ethiopia. His Majesty wrote back to him and he says, "May this reach my honorable friend Mr. Ray. Greetings to you. As you asked me to send you the names of the Ethiopian kings and the history of the Ethiopian kings of kings, the kings of kings, that's the emperors. Herewith, I have taken a copy and sent it to you. After the date of these, if you want more, I'll write to you. I'm very glad that you have asked me about the history of Abyssinia. I hope that your thoughts should be successful in future. Written on the 11th day of Sane, 1914, in the 11th day of Sane, 1914, in the Western calendar would have been the 19th of June, 1922, at the town of Addis Ababa, and it has the seal of Rastafari. So he sent him now a chronology of the sovereigns of Ethiopia. And he started in this chronology from the tribe or posterity of Ori, O-R-I, or also called Aram, A-R-A-M. And he started Aram, length of reign 60 years from 970, year of our Lord, and 1030 before Christ. And he puts the date here. And he goes on to Garrick I, Ganom K, Borsa, who was a queen, and he lists them, and he lists the length of their reigns, come right down. And he goes on the different queens. For example, he goes on to the sovereignty of the tribe of Kam after the fall of the Tower of Babel, or the Tower of Babel. And he goes on to the Axian dynasty of the posterity of the kingdom of Joktan. And he lists them also. Yes, yes. And then he comes down to the dynasty of Menelik I. Menelik I, this is 957 before Christ. And Menelik I now would have been Menelik, Solomon's son, who they wanted him to stay in Jerusalem, and he said no. So he lists from Menelik I, and then Menelik's son Hanion, then Sira, then Amenhotep Zagbur, and he goes on, and he goes right down to Menelik's descendants, and they come right down the different queens and so on, and it comes right down to there were persons who ruled for just 1 year, some who ruled for 6 months, and he lists the different dynasties until it come right down here now. I'm trying to see now. Then it comes to 1779. And then it comes to Yasu 1784. A lot of it coming right down from 4,000 years before Christ. And then comes right down to Theodore, Johannes, Iyasu IV, all these, and he lists the years when they reigned. And then to Theodore, 1855 to 1868, John IV, that is Johannes. He looks majestic, beautiful, and glorious, Johannes IV. He was the one that led the Ethiopians against the dervishes. They won the war, but he was injured in battle, and he died, Johannes. You always see him in cornrow. His hair is plaited in cornrow back. Then from him now to Menelik II. Then Lidyasu reigned for a short while, 1930 to 1916. Then Empress Zara II became a caretaker government, as it were. And then from her now to Tafari Makonnen, first as regent and here in late up to 1916, And then from 1960 on, 1918, then became king, then emperor, and so on. So right up to himself, he gave this chronology, which I think ought to be made public. And at some point, so we think that we should put it.
Always make it look like nothing exists.
Oh no, nothing come on to Ethiopia.
From who it come down.
No man, not from the emperor, man. He knew the history very well. Ethiopians on a whole takes their history very serious, very, very serious. And we are coming from Emperor Ori or Aram, as some people call him. That becomes very important because it was he who saved the Muslim faith. It was Aram who saved the Muslim faith. And some time ago, when I said that on another radio station, the next day, quite a number of Muslims called that radio station, called the manager. Some even went to him and said, Miguel is blaspheming. You understand? Yes. Yes, they called Mr. Young at IRI FM, many Muslims, when I said that it was Emperor Aram that saved the Muslim faith. And there was a Muslim brother, he was a lawyer named Woodham. And he called a meeting and he invited me. And he told them that if you read the Quran, what Miguel says is true. And when he told them, he said, no matter what you say Ethiopia going through now at the time when we had that meeting, famine, all of that, it is the great Ethiopia that is going to emerge. And we must be prepared for it. I remember Mr. Woodham saying that to other Muslims at the meeting in my presence. And I think he did this in answer to those who had gone to Carl Jung to protest me saying that Emperor Aram saved the Muslim faith. Whoa. And why I said that was because the Muslim faith, they were under attack. And it was Muhammad himself who sent his executive, his cabinet, to Ethiopia. And Emperor Aram welcomed them. And the Turks from the Ottoman Empire who were following them. And when they came to the border with Ethiopia in pursuit of Muhammad's cabinet members, and Emperor Aram sent his troops to meet them. And the Turks sent message to the emperor and said, we have no quarrel with you. It is those people that we think are violated. We want their blood. And Emperor Aram sent back to him and said, these people are my guests. And even if you offer me a mountain of gold, I will not give them up. They could not, the Ottomans could not take on the Ethiopians. And they had to put their shields and their swords between their legs and departed. And that's what saved the Muslim philosophy. And I challenge anyone to bring otherwise. Any book, anything else, yes, to show otherwise. And if you want me to go into Bilal, I can go into Bilal so too. Because Bilal was the advisor to Muhammad. And Bilal was the son of an Ethiopian woman. And it was she who taught Bilal the principles of the one God concept. Because Bilal knew that principle. At that time, the Muslims used to pray to a God for every day. So they had 365 gods. And Bilal advised Muhammad and said, no, no, no. And so we do it in Ethiopia. We don't have a God for a day. You understand? We have one true God.
Universal God.
Definitely. And he learned that from his mother, Hagar, the Ethiopian woman, and taught that to Muhammad. So if you're not coming, come every brethren. You understand? Because many nights, this is where we sit. Anytime it comes on to Ethiopia and His Imperial Majesty, we have a duty. And when I went to Ethiopia, that's what I prayed for. When I was shown the church that they last saw him, and the priest showed me the vestry, and I went in and prayed, and all I asked, give me the wisdom to defend thy name forevermore. That was I man prayer to the Almighty.
Right.
So that is I and I duty to try this earth. So we have it here. So who knows? I might just give it to the peacemakers and say, do it like how I say you do that. Because you all seem to make the time. But any means of getting it out. But it's ready. It's typed up. We have done the research and we're ready. And like I said, we want to put this chronology at the back of the book now and get it going. But this will come out before the end of the year. Yeah, man. Yes.
Station break, you know,
yes. So now we're coming up to the station break. One more station break before we move off. So just hold tight a little and then we will take. Go ahead, my brother. I'll drink some water in the meantime.
Yes.
I know you all didn't plan to stay that long, but
Yes. I'm here for next
okay. But I'll drink a little water.
Out of Kings Magazine, we present to you the artist, the African Sledge, with the single, I'll Be Ready. For more information, call 765-409-9346 or 765-421-7991. Are you ready? The African Sledge gives you music with a powerful edge.
Oh yeah. Some people stand in the darkness, afraid to step into the light. Some people need to have somebody with the edge of surrender. Don't you worry, it's gonna be alright. I'm always ready, I won't let you out of my sight. I'll be ready whenever you feel. I'll be ready forever and always. I'm always here. Unless we all have the power, but sometimes it's so hard to see. But instinct is stronger than reason. It's just human nature to me. Don't you worry, it's gonna be alright. I'm always ready, I won't let you out of my sight. I'll be ready whenever you feel. I'll be ready forever and always. I'm always here. Oh yeah. Because I show you, we don't have oh yeah. Don't you worry, it's gonna be alright. I'm always ready, I won't let you out of my sight. I'll be ready whenever you feel. I'll be ready forever and always. I'm always here. Forever and always. I'm always here. Forever and always. I'm always here.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
The best 100 FM.
yeah, man.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Yes, I. As we move forward. So, my brothers, give thanks. And remember the number now, 382 8724. You can call the Brothers Peacemakers Association and offer your support for the building of this elders' home. You have the email. What's the email?
Bobongo.james888@gmail.com.
Let me do the pen, sir. Yes. No, I have it. But sometimes you get caught up in the midst. So no, all right. Hold on. Yeah, man. So the email is bongo.james.
888.
Bongo.james 888
at gmail.com.
At
gmail.com.
gmail.com. So please send them an email, make a phone call, and so on. Every mickle make a muckle. And it would be nice if you could set up a little account. Or if you have an account, you give us the number that we can
set up
take
a
it.
special account for that purpose.
All right. Very good.
Independent account.
That we can think because we have listeners abroad.
We give that name and everything because we don't want it to come back in.
Yes, in the general fund.
Right. No.
Right.
This is a sacred word.
So all the brothers and sisters abroad would be able to donate to the fund, those who want to donate. And the brothers and sisters, I know we have some people there in New York listening. They can also gather things. Think of it, an old people's home, an elders' home, thing. There might be certain type of beds that we need, especially adjustable beds. You know, they can get them up there. Computers, because we want to teach our elders computers too, you know.
And those who can tell the story can write it down.
Yes.
Of knowledge transfer, it's an active place,
Yes.
you know.
And then now, things like wool, those who can knit, craft, thread, sewing machine. These days you have nice hand sewing machine we can carry like a suitcase. You know what I mean? So it's not like a big thing in days of wool. My mother used to have a pump iron to make our khaki and make our uniform. My sisters, them uniform. So we can start think about it to make it a very modern and productive.
Very important. Thinking about it. Really think and be absorbed and let the Most High begin to inspire you because we want this to be a work of inspiration.
Beautiful.
We want it to be a work
Beautiful.
that models his imperial majesty's vision for the world in microcosm. We want what his imperial majesty wanted to see the world to be happening right there in that.
Yes.
Seed of ancient wisdom.
Yes, absolutely.
Seed.
Yeah.
This. Seed bank of ancient wisdom.
Beautiful.
Of living seeds.
Yes.
Seed bank or living seed bank of ancient wisdom.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
So we give thanks for your what I said. It's not a contribution. You're sharing, and in your sharing, your empowerment.
Yes.
To make Rastafari a greater progress of moving forward. And stop watch, as you just said a while ago. We now watch what left behind. We are going towards the goal.
Yes.
And setting up these type of institution and raise the value and the vibration of Rastafari under his imperial majesty words and all his prophetic language. Because I hear him read some a while ago from the 100
principles.
100 principles, I mean.
Yes.
100. They're very profound.
Yes.
Them simple. Boy, I love it. Mood mind, have it right now.
All
My hand.
right.
I tell you, say, at them, me just have some little clippings when we used to get, but that sound like something I have in my hand.
Okay.
Same time, I stand up as a man who's a spokesman, we just start talk.
Yes.
Quote. You understand?
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Give thanks to that, man.
Give thanks.
Rastafari, live peacemaker, one love and unity.
Yeah, man. So we give thanks that you all could make it. Thanks a lot. We'll keep in touch, Bongo James, and we'll keep the flames of freedom burning. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes.
Rastafari.
Every time. Blessings and honor.
So give thanks, uncle.
Like a new cancer generation taking over in the year of return. I step to
Yes,
the
sir.
door of no return. Now, the door of return. In the time of return. I and I step through the door of no return. Now, the door of return. What if I knowledge we gain from the things we learn in the era of return from Accra to Cape Coast and Ossiman Soul, the place full of vibes like a Jamaica soul. Kumasi, Takoradi, and the Volta region where the food and agriculture manifest strong. Heirloom liberty for the little bikini. I will never forget the taste of the jelly. I will never forget the taste of the jelly. The jelly. The jelly. Mumbra, mumbra, maya go, mumbra, yankoya mayo, mumbra, maya go, mumbra, yankoya mayo, mumbra, maya go, mumbra, yankoya mayo. Those who die and never made it through the door, on behalf of those that sail across the Atlantic, brutally shackled in the belly of the ship, work the slave plantation.
Better give me one number here.
Huh?
Better give me one phone number.
Who?
Remember you gave me a phone number?
Who? Jelani?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, man. Get him on the line. Thank you for reminding me. Get him for me.
It is time to return to the motherland to the ones on earth. The door of no return must not return. The hinges were broken and the gates of I burn. I march into Ghana to uphold the mighty and banner. Trumpet louder, the philosophy of farming grows. Together we build the empire. Soul is so strong. A people bound by divine cluster can't fall asunder. There is no love sweeter than the fat of the continent. The love is so consistent. I return and step through the door.
And the next song after this year, number one.
And the moon, rather, give me an airport and a line, a wharf and a shipping line, because you can't cross water, only the Black Star Line. Full compensation to the old African nation, 400 years of blood and glory, this book, Alcohol and history, the Elmina and Cape Coast Castle is here to remind me. It's the year of returning to the sweet jelly. It's the year of returning to claim the riches to the last penny. It's the year of returning.
He's on the line?
Yeah.
All right.
It's the year of returning for poverty and illiterate. It's the year of returning to togetherness and power. It's the year of return to everything sweet
gradually.
and not sour. So put the difference aside, kill shame and pride. Millions living today, benefiting from the legacy of slavery. The writings are on the walls, so I see clearly.
Isaiah, greetings and blessings, Brother Jelani. Greetings, my brother. Blessings and honor. Thanks for waiting for us. All right. Yes, every time. Now, there seems to be a talking in the background, Brother Jelani. All right. Thanks a lot. Thank you, my brother. Blessings. Now, certain events have been taking place, and we're not just sitting back and watch these events blow like the wind over our head. And as we seek to interrupt the passages of these events and to somehow, in some instances, curtail some of them, stop some of them, and re-energize our family and community effort to making sure that Rastafari lives with the dignity that our ancestors fought and died for. You want to tell me what's happening there from your end, Brother Jelani?
You've done Brother Miguel. But I think you more or less framed it comprehensively and nicely. I think many of your listeners are aware that the Jamaican Rastafari community is uncomfortable, angry, upset at what seems to be a certain kind of subhuman treatment that is needed of sorts. There is a certain kind of internal racism that our community is exposed to. I have framed it as a kind of Afro-pessimism, which means that Rastafari, the cultural representation of the African present and African heritage, for some persons become a kind of, undesirable outcast or someone to be treated less than fairly. Still lingering attitudes of the colonial mindset which suggest that we don't know better why we hold the ideas, the culture, the politics, the philosophy that we hold, and that we really need to be corrected. And a part of this correction is really imposing insults on all the members of our community by marring them or treating them in disrespectful ways by way of conversation, statements from public officials. And there are a number of instances where we've seen this. And this doesn't just happen in those contexts, but it happens as it relates to ganja, the contemporary decriminalization, how that is interpreted, how it is abused when there is pretense and ignorance or dismissal of the current legislation and the whole regime of exploitation that's of Rastafari herbs. Brother Miguel, the situation that exists now within our community, I think, is one of us being completely set up and pushed to the limit. And Jamaica really represents not just the national Rastafari community. Jamaica represents an example for Rastafari globally. There is always interest, not just from our own Rastafari diaspora, but from the millions of people across the world that Rastafari has impacted. There's always interest and scrutiny as to what is happening here. And there's alarm, how it is that colleagues of the Barbados and Antigua, they're wondering about the apology that was made by our Prime Minister and how it is that that apology doesn't seem to have filtered through the official system. There's still institutional prejudice and desire to do harm and damage, and it's wicked, and it's intended not just to insult and injure those individuals that are targeted. It's intended to resonate to our own community to say that we have this power. And I think even before the latest incident and
Yes.
a number of different coordinate issues as it relates to a united, coordinated approach on that matter. And then we've seen other associations, and I guess it's pretty comprehensive, taking in not just Rastafari, but all the traditional rulers. We've seen where that network links to other networks, such as the Coalition of Rastafari Associations, which is a subject perhaps that we are looking at clearly today based on an agenda we have for next week, Wednesday. But different members of the community, different workers within our community, leaders, professionals, thinkers, ordinary practitioners have been, I would say, over the last 5 to 6 months, been in serious dialogue, and I think we've been pushed by the ending of King case as well as the case with Jabbar McCullough and his brother Justine, I think, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yes.
To really come together in a very clear and united and clearly articulated statement to say we've had enough.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some necessary actions we are expecting. And this is in the light of the fact that Rastafari is consistently, almost ambivalently celebrated as the Jamaican cultural hero. If you look at it on TV during Black History Month and Heroes Week, the narrative is Rastafari driven. Reggae music has been recently acknowledged as, intangible heritage of humanity, and of the understanding that there is interest in likewise acclaiming Rastafari of the Jamaica as such. All of these indications, in addition to recognition of Rastafari as a genuine expression of an indigenous community and population, all of these things conveniently are celebrated. But there is that still backward tension as to how the community is really received. So,
If I hate to interrupt you, but when you describe it, it reminds me of the man who talk, Rastafari, boy, this and that, and speak good of Rastafari. But the day him same daughter bring home a Rasta man, him threaten to put her out.
and there are those conversations still happening. I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't even want to get personal, but in my own experience, when I was courting my wife, the house had to kind of recalibrate before I could enter. Because so it's not something that is still not existing as far and Brother Miguel, the move that we make in the Respect Rastafari conversation is a part of our post-colonial, post-independent truth and reconciliation that is never removed. And by that, what I'm saying is that Rastafari has been the clearest decolonizing voice to emerge out of Jamaica. Independence did not necessarily bring that decolonization because we never had the conversation. The post-independent leaders, they were invested in ensuring the British that we could proceed as we had been without disruption, demonstrating that we had become that civilized population. So issues of blackness were never confronted. slightly imagination, just given the demographics and the infrastructure that is already there.
That is emerging, very much so, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we have known that you know, not only does Africa with its creation and its creators, that this was inevitable. And you know, I think our community has been given all of the science. We've spoken about these science. You know, the days have been literally short. Given lots of them, and the weeks are now being shortened. You know, so there is no doubt about the urgency around the issues that we are confronted with. I think the state of offenses that we've seen recently, Ras Iron last year, traumatized, you know, untimely passing because of what he was put through as an elderly man sitting in a hospital. And then we know before that the two young children at the police station who were trimmed while their parents were absent.
That's Jador's children up there in the Garden Town area. Yes. And you know, today it was brought to my attention a brother named Reuben. His surname escapes me now. Reuben, who is an inmate at the General Penitentiary. A warden named they call Bikey. Bikey lick him in his head brutally. Happened sometime during the course of last week. Brutally Bikey. That warden lick him in his head. And so he had to be taken to the hospital at the Kingston Public Hospital, where he was a patient for over a week. I am making attempts to interview Brother Reuben on the air. So as soon as I get that clearance, I'll be interviewing. But the brother is about 60 odd years old. The brother has been in prison for 27 years. Attempts are being made to get him out on parole. He's there. Many other warders have certified that the brother is not a brother that gives trouble. They don't have no problem with him. And they themselves are even stating that they'd be willing to sign any document to assist him to get his parole. And his family has been working on that. And in the midst of that now, that this officer, Bikey, licked the man in the head so much that the man had to be because there's a hospital at GP. That hospital couldn't deal with this. And they take him to the Kingston Public Hospital. And he had to do all things like CAT scan and all them things there. Brutal. So that has now just been brought to my attention. We're going to be following up on it to know that this bike, he must know that him not going to lick another brother inside GP.
And you know, Brother Miguel, it should be said, you know, that by no means are we saying that all of the public officials have the backward mentalities. In fact, certainly all of them could not have. But the problem is that the ones who act on their wickedness are marring the other colleagues. And this is why it's so important for, you know, the Prime Minister's attention, the attention of the various ministries that these offenses fall under.
Yeah, because it is another warder who brought it to our attention. You know, it is another warder who brought it to our attention. So something will have to be done. And brother Reuben, who is a Rastafarian, carrying dreadlocks, live within him principles. And like I said, he's now preparing to get parole. And this has happened to the brother. Nice. So, yeah, sorry, yes?
Colonial attitude
to them. Yeah, man. All right. The time is running up on me now, brother Jelani. So the 8th of September, that's next week, Wednesday, at Kaya Herb House on Lady Musgrave Road. What will be going on there?
Highlight the issues we've been having, but also highlight the fact that we now require responses and solutions coming. There were some strategies previously to entrench dialogue that have no longer been working. We want to see those entrenchment advisory boards activated in ways that help the community. And we want to appraise the community generally of the need to center Rastafari as a sport and cultural heritage and to achieve Rastafari coming from that. So intention is to pull our media groups together to support a public lobby that will urge our government into acting swiftly to address these issues that continuously are in front of us. The public is invited online as well as in physical presence, and we hope to continue to do media this should be resonating.
Absolutely, my brother. Well, give thanks there. All things up at the university, brother Jelani. All things there.
Well, yes, the session is returning mostly online. Student numbers are really being now affected more so. I think lockdown, the poor economy for supporting students in full time is surely showing itself. In some instances, numbers as low as a third of the anticipated. So serious times all around, requiring consolidation of teaching around fewer teachers, all kinds of adjustments like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still early in the semester. So hope is that our numbers will go upwards in that way. Short on that. I'm not sure if that was the question you asked.
Oh, yes, man. Oh, yes. That's exactly what I just want to know what's going on in terms of future of the country, because these are students that will come. These are brains that will be developed. So if the whole situation is lowering the numbers, that can be good.
Well, let me say this. So, in spite of all that has been happening, the department where I am, which is really responsible for teaching content that is local, Caribbean culture in particular, has been one of the stronger departments in the midst of all of this. Our numbers, not just at the undergraduate, but also the graduate level, remain stronger than all the other departments. So we're clear that students appreciate the content and the knowledge production that happens in that space.
Give thanks, my brother. Give thanks as usual. Brother Jalan and Naya, thanks a lot, my brother. Give thanks and blessings. One love, and we'll keep in touch. As is I. Nice. Yes. There you have it, brothers and sisters. Brother Jalan and Naya. So there'll be a press conference at Kaya Herb House. That's on Lady Musgrave Road. You're coming up Lady Musgrave Road as if you're going towards King's House on your right. Not too far from the corner of Lady Musgrave Road and Hope Road. So this will be on the 8th of September, next week, Wednesday. This press conference will take place. Persons can join virtually and in person. And it will start at 10 o'clock. And the incidents that have been happening in regard to Rastafari will be discussed and plan of action takes place. We also want to remind you of the 4th of October as we will travel to Brownstown, where Javon Cullum and Justine Cullum will be going to court for the first time. And also where we would like the police at Brownstown Police Station understand that you must respect people's human rights. I just want to mention that two brothers, brother Black X, many of you know used to be a regular co-host with me in this program. Well, I just got the news that brother Black X's father has passed on. He has joined the ancestors. So we say condolences to brother Black X, and we ask you to stay strong and mighty. We also must mention that my newer co-host, brother Donovan Ogilvie, who would normally be here with me, he's not here today. And the reason for that is that his baby mother, the mother of his children, and who is virtually his wife in all sense of the word, she passed on last Saturday. He was actually here at the studio on Wednesday when he got the news that she was taken to the hospital. And he himself went down to Portland, where she lived. And right away, between Friday and Saturday, she joined the ancestors and passed on. Her name is Yvonne Brown, and they have two children together. That's Makeda Ogilvie and Amoy Ogilvie. So we say condolences to the family of Brother Black X and to the family of Brother Donovan Ogilvie on the passing of Yvonne Brown. The Yvonne Brown story seems to take on a little added factor to it, in the sense that what Brother Ogilvie tells me is that she died as a result of inadequate oxygen. That's inadequate oxygen supply at the Port Antonio Hospital. So that is something we would want to look into. That's something we want to follow up on, because we have been told repeatedly by the Minister of Health that there is sufficient supply of oxygen in the country. Yes, greetings and blessings. The Blackstone? Greet. Yes, well, I saw an article in the Observer which refers to a man who himself is carrying out fundraising measures to alleviate certain medical condition. And in the midst of this, trying to assist yourself, you have gone out now and you are now assisting others. And you know, it's amazing, my brother. Talk to me about it. What is it that I've read? Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's always somebody who's in a first position than you. And it warms my heart to be able to reach out and especially help a brother who was spent 52 years locked up, having not been charged with a crime, having that faith judge or jury, and just locked away to wither away.
What's his name again? George Williams, yes.
His story came to light only because of Noel Chambers, who was 81 years old when he passed away after spending 4 years in prison. The only problem about George Williams because Noel Chambers died, and he died from rat bite,
Bed sores and all these things. Mm-hmm.
covered with chink, right? They call it bed bug, but we know just chink.
Mm-hmm.
Layers upon layers of chink. And after they released George Williams on the last of July last year, he was not did not tell us his family was poor or barely be able to take care of him. And I think that is unfair.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would, even though I am suffering with a chronic heart condition where my spot is clogged, I still
Yes.
And because of that gesture, today I got a phone call from the Bounty Killer Foundation, and they invited me to Westwood on stage, and they recorded and over a check to me for my surgery for $300,000. So that was the mark of God made the prophet. It's right. It's good that you do for others. But you know that good karma will come around and be to you as well. So it's right to make it happen.
So we want to heal the Bounty Killer Foundation. Yes. I haven't spoken to the killer in a long, long while. Yes. I most certainly, because he has been doing very good works, and you know, and so they handed over a check to you. That's in regard to yourself, but we are so heartened that you were able to organize $50,000 for George Williams. We have seen a lot of talk. We heard a lot of talk about the man locked up and just let, but it's so disgraceful that the government of Jamaica does not make him an offer. You see, matters like these, you don't wait till you go to court and it's going to take long and the man would have dead and all them things there. The government, the Attorney General, can make him an offer based on the years that he has spent there. You look at the years that, for example, if he was working as a laborer, or he was working as a mason, or so on, how much he would have earned. That is how you calculate these things. And you calculate based on the last years, and you look at how much you would have spent and what have you, and you take out this and you take some of that for taxes, etc. And then you reach a roundable figure that you can give him. That's what the government should be doing, and it's 1 year now and they have not given the man one single cent. I'm telling you, we don't have an Attorney General who is on the side of the people. And that is why we say the Constitution needs to change, man. You shouldn't make this man have to come beg you or ask you. You owe him. You lock him up for so many years. And you just look upon him and say, you may go now. And like you said, the man never faced a court. You say all this thing about detaining at Governor General's pleasure. It's joke, my brother. It's gimmicks. It's gimmicks and joke. Yeah, man, nobody should be detained at the Governor General's pleasure. I've seen instances where people detain at the Governor General's pleasure, and when I go to King's House to inquire, King's House don't know nothing about the man. King's House never heard the name before I went there. And I said, but this man is detained. That it can't be just a formality and a talk in court. If a judge said you are detained at the Governor General's pleasure, the Governor General has an office, you know. He has staff. They must inform them, and they too must go and get a record of the man that is being detained at his leisure or pleasure. So that is joke when that come about. But the reality now is that, you know, we hope more people. So can I give out your number, Blackstone, so that people can, if they intend to continue supporting George Williams, they can donate to call you, and then in your own situation, your medical situation, that people can continue to make contributions towards your medical recovery. Yes. So go ahead and give out the number, Blackstone. 4443. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. And so we want to thank you. Now, I can't leave now. We had advertised on this that there would have been a virtual concert in your honor and support. No, did that take place? On what date? Yes.
close to $200,000.
Yes.
And we have to thank people like Julian Harley, Mr. Pike, Nesbitt, Little John, Tristan Palmer, George Pound from Powerhouse Records, the team that we call the Dream Team of Empress Shad, Janet Lumley, Mr. Pike, Weisberg, Jessica Mangini, all the way in South Africa. She performed Denise Isis Miller promotes a band. She gave us plenty of time in promoting the event. And of course, Black Filipino all the way in Ghana, Africa. There's so much people, I cannot call everyone's name, but I'm so grateful to hear Nesbitt, who is one of the most prolific young minds coming up, to speak on the fact that he met me in 1998 when he won my talent competition. And what I did to him, this is his way of saying thank you what he gave us early performance. So I want to say thank you, Nesbitt, and thank you to all of the performers, Brother Miguel.
Beautiful.
They came out and they did their best. They did their best, and I truly Nation Energy did another great performance. And I want to say thank you very, very, very much to all of you.
What's the account number again, Brother Blackhead? Blackstone. What's the account?
Okay, if you want to make a donation for my surgery, because the first phase of my surgery, I need what you call an angiogram.
Yes.
An angiogram is where they put me to sleep, or I can be awake, and they make an incision on my groin or my wrist, and they pump dye up into my heart. This dye that they pump will be monitored on an X-ray machine where they can see where the arteries are narrowed. That costs $750,000 just to do that. Once the artery is identified, then they will need to put what you call a stent. A stent costs per stent $1.4 million. So if somebody wants to donate and they want to make a check payable to the Art Institute, I don't mind because that's where the money will be spent. So if you want to give me the money personally and you want to make me a size of a check payable to the Art Institute, because the Multi-Killer Foundation check that they gave me for $300,000 was made payable to the Art Institute. These are not money that is going in my pocket. This is not money that was going towards my health. You can also make a donation at the Bank of Nova Scotia, 100-933-027. My name is Claude Sinclair. You can also make a donation at PayPal at Bigstone 1000. That's PayPal at 1000@hotmail.com. PayPal at bigstone1000@hotmail.com. And of course, there's also a GoFundMe. You can make your donation at Big Stone Art Surgery GoFundMe.
So we have several avenues that persons can make, and we want to appeal to persons. Don't worry about the size. The little will grow, mickle will come, and so on. So don't worry and says, well, then, some people get 300,000, some, no. The $100, the $500, the $1,000, all these add up and make into, grow big, and so on. Nice. The Blackstone, we're very glad, my brother. Thanks a lot that you could join us. And like I said, you have endeared yourself even more now when people read that here you are working on yourself, but in the midst of it, you are able to secure $50,000 for Brother Williams, who, like I said, who is in a destitute situation, not because of his fault, but because of the state's incompetence, I should say, and so on. Thanks a lot, my brother. Yes, sorry. Yes. Oh, didn't know that. Yes.
What, the second one?
Thanks for that beautiful reminder. I thank you, my brother, every time. No problem. Blessings and honor. So, brothers and sisters, we have come to the end of the program. We give thanks, thank all those who join in, and so on. So, Brother Ruben down at GP there, stay strong, my brother. You stay strong, because those days of a warder beating a man and thinking going to get away is over. And like I said, it's other warders who brought it to our attention. So they are not in league with it at all. They have pointed out to me you are one of the most well-behaved, well-respected inmate that they have there. And what was done to you was a clear case of injustice. So, Bikey, that's the name of the alias that they call the warder. Everybody know him as Bikey. Yes, Bikey, you should never do that. You should never, ever do that. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining in. And certainly, the utterance Bible, which has been given to me today, I really appreciate it. Give thanks. Join us next week. Bitter Sugar. Remember the press conference next week, Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Remember the 4th of October outside the Brownstown Courthouse, Brownstown Police Station. And remember the 5th of October, that's the day of announcing at the Peacemakers Association gathering at their center. Blessings and honor, Black love.
Watch out! And the powerful sounds of Rasta Cool alongside the young motor, the new age Rastafari Tutor. Yeah, Rasta Cool and Cool War, fighting. Yeah, trouble with the bomb. Watch out! Yeah, trouble with the bomb. Yeah, trouble with the bomb. Watch out!
You never get that one.
Don't be
You get that one.
There's some more CDs there now.
No, the one with the African sled. See that? See that? We're not play. Number one.
Number one.
Yes, yes.
Countries are in this fear. Here for countries I have no share.
Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
The best 100 FM.
I will never let this change and go astray. What goes in from the rise and the good and now reveal unto the babe and suckling. Then I will the original gang. Leonard Howell, the first Rasta man. Leonard Howell, the original gang. Leonard Howell, the first Rasta man. Black historians teach the people about this man. Whoa, Leonard Howell, from over in the St. Catherine. He bought over 500 acres of land for his people to live on. Yes, he made it a self-contained community. Whoa, Leonard Howell, the original gang.
So, you want to send it to me? Email?
I'm not going to
Share it program.
I'm not going to that now.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Last Thursday program.
Yes.
Best FM 100.5 on your dial. Keep listening.
Hello there. Yes, indeed. This is the Prophet Reverend Mark Stewart, inviting each and every one of you to join us for war. It's going to be a war. This and every Wednesday, of course, it's going to be hot. It's going to be powerful. Come for the word. Come for the preaching. Come for the teaching. Of course, the music. And of course, midnight warfare fire. With me, the Prophet Mark Stewart, of course, Apostle Marshall, Reverend Eric Boston, of course, Reverend Captain Thames. For the hard way. Join us every Wednesday night from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Come and join us. Will you? Sponsored by all our partners, our friends of the ministry. Will you join us? Yes, indeed. It's going to be powerful. This and every Wednesday, 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. We're going to lick it to the bus, darling.
The views, opinions, or statements which are expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of Best 100 FM.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Turn up.
Oh, them people tune in? Is them people program that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Take out that one there for me now.
Yeah, not.
Okay. Enough people know them have them own studio, you know. They actually have. No, them have it at the yard. I think they whenever come on after me, Marks to the church. Then them studio. Sometimes them come in, the COVID and thing, now them tend to stay out. So, you get to the thing on that one?
No, I'm going to get first bit off.
No,
Come chat next week.
All right. So I'm on the church group for them. So then now, and book the time for the ear. And then them broadcast from them studio. You know, I'm on the that's what Barry G did. No, in the St. Elizabeth. But my own studio. And then him just broadcast in the yard, you know. And get him advertisers and things. And then pay him. Station get a percentage, and get a percentage. But the matter, I think that no, brother. And the equipment must be like one time again, you know.
Get and set up and
yeah, man. Almost everybody have a studio now. Even for the artists, they have their own studio.
That's the only thing them are doing. Even them do them else, them just do their own studio.
Jesus have mercy. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Welcome to Midnight Warfare. Lord have mercy. Good night, everybody. How are y'all doing on the YouTube, Facebook? And I trust and hope that the nation is listening on Best 100 FM. We're coming to you from our live studio at the Breakthrough Mandeville home of the prophet. We say good night and welcome aboard. We would like to know if you're listening and you're hearing us loud and clear out there. So I want you to give me a call across the country. Let me know if you're up and running. Number to call 766347942. Let me check it in. Hello. Hello. Yes, just a second.
Over well can listening clear easy.
Clear as crystal over wild cane.
Clear as crystal.
Oh, I love to hear that, you know. Let your very soul up and running. Lord have mercy. I had Mr. Shaw working overtime, you know. Let me know if you're hearing us out there, Radio Land. Hello, good night.
Hearing you clear.
Clearing down?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's sounding good down there.
I didn't get anything on Wednesday on and Sunday.
All right, we'll tell you what happened on that note later on, but right now we'll check it in. Bless your soul.
Okay,
all right now. Good evening, good night.
Yes, it's a good night, good night.
Uh-huh.
The winter spend loud and clear.
Loud and clear in the winter spend. Welcome aboard. Of course. Hello, good night. Uh-huh. Leisha over wild cane is not sleeping. Lord have mercy. Bless your soul. Every time. Good night, good night. Talk to me.
You are the farm.
You are the farm up and running.
Yes, sir.
Good night, bless you very much.
Thank you for coming down to you, you know.
True?
Yes, Redneck, I feel you. You ain't telling that I want land road I want. You see? But you get in front and two gunmen in the mid. And me they behind the and them. Oh, when me was there, rep, them a try something, you know, but me hear them say them a go blind you. You stop there, tell you the truth, rep. And then now you walk. But like me stay behind them and me a pray, but them not looking for me in a right. And then now me feel like you took off in a one clear to the water. And you see when you took off in the clear to the water, it's turned up.
Covered under the blood.
Clear and pretty. We love you, we have to pray for you.
You know better pray for me then.
Yes, yes, yes.
Bless up yourself. Lord have mercy. They're coming after my soul, trying to take control, but no weapon. Lord Jesus. Good night. Welcome aboard. Hello, good night. Bless your heart. Where you calling from?
Should have come from this bro.
Up and running loud and clear?
Loud and clear, YouTube link.
Oh, bless your very heart. Bless your very heart.
Okay, bro. Keep on what it is, bro.
Every time up there. Every time. Oh. Check it in. 1, 2, 3. Hello? Oh boy, I tell you, we're there. Every time.
Guide me Sunday and Wednesday night.
Guide me all down great Jehovah.
Just keep me here and for the good work.
Yeah, boy.
In the house all the time.
Rock of ages. Bless up every time. Lord have mercy. Hello, good night. Good night. Good night. Hello.
Good night. Checking in clearly.
Checking in clearly. Where you calling from?
How are you? They want me dead, but they want me dead, but they want me mad, but I'm mad.
You know what?
Bless the Lord. I'll say that the first ever wanted to listen to your program with confession.
What you say? What you say?
Yes, man. They want me to come to this place. I'm not this place. So James myself, born naked, different, creating with that man that I don't know, but the little liar, sign him up.
Bless your heart. Pray. Bless your soul. Keep strong. All right. Oh, Jesus.
Praise God, man of God.
How you doing? How you doing?
I am well. God is good.
God is good. God is great. It's good to be back for another Wednesday night.
Amen.
Midnight warfare, where we take it like that with no apology. We're going hard for God. We're going hard for God.
Hallelujah.
My God, no matter what man says, let man fail to be man. God is still God.
Amen. Praise God.
Hallelujah. Master God of God. Good night. Apostle Marshall, Apostle Box in the building. Hello, good night, you're live. Good night.
Good night.
Bless your heart. The Santa Cruz massive up and running. Bless your soul. Welcome. Bless your heart. I know my life. Checking in from Massachusetts. The Facebookers and all the YouTubers, welcome aboard. Lord have mercy. Hello, good night.
Good night, Lord.
Bless your heart.
This is Victor calling from. I'm not hearing anything.
Any kid?
I'm not hearing nothing at all.
Where are you?
I'm in Montego Bay.
Montego Bay, not hearing. Lord have mercy. I don't know what's happening in Montego Bay. Montego Bay and Sab Lamar. I know my brother Shaw was working on Sab Lamar today. Don't know if he got through in time. They were working on that side.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all in Sab Lamar, Westmoreland, Montego Bay area. Oh boy, I tell you. All right, let's see before the night is out. We're live on YouTube and Facebook. Log on. Facebook, YouTube. We're live. Get on the network. Look for me, Reverend Mark Stewart, YouTube, Facebook. Bless you. Pick up yourself. Bless up yourself. Go online. Oh boy. Bless your heart. Oh Jesus. Good night, July.
Hello, good night. I'm calling you from the Kingston, Carrington Park.
Loud and clear, Carrington Park. Bless you.
God bless you.
All right, good.
My Jesus
Shedding the Cayman Islands loud and clear. Lord have mercy. Good night. Hello.
Hi, good night.
Good night. Bless your heart.
Blessing, man. God coming from Washington, God. Blessed. I'm feeling blessed.
Washington, God is feeling blessed. Blessings. Every time. 100.3, 100.9. Check your radio dial. 100.3, 100.5, 100.9. That's 100 FM. The breakthrough coming through. Good night to you. Yellow, good night, you're live.
Good night, Ram, and good night to the apostles. Looking forward to what the Lord has laid on your heart for us tonight. We are coming from Manchester, and we're hearing you loud and clear. South Manchester.
South Manchester, up and running.
God bless you.
Amen. I want to say hello to my family down there. Yes. In South Manchester, my aunties, cousins. Yes. And uncles and all my family. All of them. Be blessed. Be blessed over there. My God, over there in the South Manchester. Oh, yeah. Mandrum. Yes, yes. Lord have mercy, I'm telling you. Good night. My very life, my very soul, I'm telling you. The number to call 634-7942 876-634. Andrea checking in from Florida. Bless you very hard. Good night, your life. Good night. Hello? Hello? Taking too long. Good night. What is this on the night? It's midnight warfare. Are you ready, people of God? We're going till 5 o'clock in the morning. Lord have mercy. I know many people will hear me on Sunday morning, and many people hear me on Wednesday night, but you're up and running tonight. Give us a call. Good night, your life.
Good night, sir.
Bless your heart.
Yes, man. Deacon calling on the Pine Hill.
Pine Hill. Welcome, bless God.